So welcome everyone to our Essential Emotions class today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here and to learn with us. Our host today is Miss Giovanni Bonet. She is one of my new builders and she's so excited to learn. So she might pipe in with a few experiences, but this is new for her too. Hi Giovanni.
Hi Nicole. Thanks everyone for joining us on the webinar today. And like Nicole said, this is a newer topic for me, but I am so excited about this topic because it really does affect our lives in a negative or a positive way. So I'm really hungry for this information as well.
So true. So let me introduce myself. My name is Nicole Vincent. I am a holistic empowerment coach, mentor, and life coach as well. Me and my husband have been married for almost 18 years now, and I have 4 fabulous children, and I have been sharing and using essential oils for 4.5 years now, and it has just completely changed my life for the better. And not just the oils themselves, but the entire journey. But the oils have been a very big key component for me. I am a diamond with my company, which means I have just helped a lot of people. And I'm very passionate about empowering women to help them recognize their God-given gifts and abilities. And I have an absolute passion for teaching, and I have a gift for healing as well. So I love sharing, and this is one of my favorite topics to teach on. And giving you a little bit background on my journey and how I kind of came to this this place where I love talking about emotions. It didn't always used to be that way. Growing up, my parents divorced when I was around 12 or 13. Our home was a little bit, it wasn't terrible. I wasn't abused. My parents, they did the best they could with their experiences and what they had at the time. But it was an angry household. And when my parents divorced, that really, as the oldest child, I really had to kind of put my big girl pants on and step into that role of caretaker and the strong one, or at least I felt that I needed to. And to protect myself, I went to a place of numb, where I really didn't feel very much, because if I let those emotions turn on, so to speak, I slipped into depression very, very easily. And so to keep myself safe, I kind of got into this numb state where I couldn't feel anything. And I wasn't like, I had some depressive years, but overall I was a pretty happy person on the outside. Like it appeared that I was happy. But you know, years went by, I got married, I had kids, I totally got lost in mommyhood, and I continued that numb state to keep myself safe. And it wasn't until I had my last child, she's now almost 8, but when I had her, I went into a severe postpartum depression. And I went on medication. This is before my oil days, but I went on medication and just had some really, it was kind of a crossroads for me where I had to realize I needed to do something different, because what I was doing wasn't working anymore. And that was right around when I turned 30. And so I started making changes, and I started exercising a little bit more. I started eating a little bit better. But I still didn't have all the tools that I needed, and I knew there was more out there. And that's kind of when I was introduced to essential oils. And so I was interested in them for health reasons. And, I wanted to, hopefully help my body heal a little bit better and not rely on medication or doctor's visits as much as I was. And they did that. But the thing that I didn't know that essential oils did is that they affected my emotions as well. And essential oils are amazing detoxifiers, and they started detoxifying me physically, but they also started to detoxify me emotionally. And I was actually able to feel again, and I hadn't felt in a long time. And when you turn off your emotions, you don't just turn off the bad ones, you turn off the good ones too. And so you're kind of in this emotional flat line. And I was able to kind of put on a front or a facade of emotion, what I thought I should react, but actually inside feeling stuff was very difficult for me. And so as I started using these oils for physical reasons, I started having this emotional detoxification happening where I was actually able to feel. And it still brings me to tears because it was such a liberating feeling to be able to feel that joy and be able to feel love and be able to feel those negative emotions such as anger or sadness and not get swallowed up in them. And that led me to start learning more about emotions and our emotional health, and has really spurred me on this journey of holistic empowerment. And that's why I want to share this with you today. So I am totally talking from a place of experience for this webinar and of passion, because I know that I'm not the only woman that has been in this numb state, has been lost in mommyhood. And this isn't only for women, men do it too. Men kind of brush off that they don't have emotion, but guess what? They do, whether they want to admit it or not. But that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do and what I teach. So first off, guys, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. I am just here to share my personal experience with you and educate you on things that I have learned and experiences that I have had that will hopefully help you on your journey to grow and to become the better version of yourself that you can be. So let's ask ourselves this question. Would you like to be more happy, more connected, more empowered? That's something that I think we don't think about. We get so busy that we don't have time to think about our happiness level. We don't have time to think about if we're connecting to people. We don't have time to be empowered. But let me tell you, as one that now I feel these feelings, I feel this way, it's so important and so vital and so soul nourishing. So I want to take a quick moment just to talk to you about a little movie called Inside Out. And I'm not going to use this throughout the webinar. I'm not that creative. But this is a profound movie that Disney came out with a few years ago that really talks about the importance of all emotion in our life. A lot of times we try to figure, okay, let's just have happy emotion. But there is a reason for having some negative emotions as well. They're important and they serve a purpose. It's when we start to nourish those negative emotions and we start to help them grow and expand and get bigger that we have problems. But if you haven't watched this movie, guys, please take some time, especially with your kids. But it is profound on how important your emotional health is. So in this class, we're going to talk about the science behind emotion and the science behind essential oils and how they work together. I'm going to teach you a few tools and different habits for healthy body chemistry, so you can take a proactive role in your health and your emotional well-being. And then some practical emotional wellness steps that you can take now to help you feel more balanced and more in control. So first off, let's look at this holistic approach. We are created to function as a whole. We are not just a body. We're not just a mind. We're not just a spirit. We're all in this one package together. And you cannot affect one without affecting the other. And you've got to nourish all areas of your being in order to have a happy, balanced state. When we don't do that, our body goes into dissonance in different areas where we're going to have issues, right? We're going to have different dysfunction within the body, within our emotions, within the spirit that are going to cause problems for us. And so it's so important to make sure you look at all areas. And so we're kind of looking at a combination. For me, emotion is kind of a combination between spirit and mind. And it's super important to make sure that you're nourishing those areas as well as your body, because if you're not nourishing your physical body well, emotional things are going to be exaggerated, okay? So as though we're not going to be talking about nutrition a ton in this webinar, but it's super, super important to make sure that you are giving your body good fuel that it can use so that your emotions are at a realistic level and not an exaggerated state. So the body is made up of intelligent cells. Guys, our cells are so miraculous. Our body is a miracle. God knew what he was doing when he created it. And it is wired to restore health. So many functions in our body are there and to design and are designed to repair and heal the body itself. Problem is, we inundated with so many toxins, and not just physical toxins, but emotional toxins as well. You know, think about an emotion that you might have had. Maybe you got super angry at your parents when they wouldn't let you do something, and you've been storing that up for 20, 30, 40 years. Do you think that that's going to have an effect on your health? It is. When you don't process emotion, when you don't release it, which many of us are stuffers, right? We stuff those emotions down and try to pretend they're not there. Or we might not even stuff them. We just might not even acknowledge and just kind of ignore them. But when we do that, we create a bunch of problems for our body and our well-being. So emotions are information-carrying molecules that bind to and react with cell receptors. Every single one of our cells has these beautiful little receptors, and as we experience emotion, we create peptides. And peptides are going to go in, and they're going to go in these cell receptors, and they're going to kind of steer and direct these cells on what to do, how to act, and how to perform. And if we're giving them bad information or we're giving them negative information, they're going to respond in a negative manner. And so our emotions are important. Think about, and a lot of people are probably like, are you serious? Like, my emotions are going to create a chemical reaction within our body? I am totally serious. And emotions are not just like necessarily feelings, but your thoughts as well will create chemical reactions within the body. So think about maybe an instance where you were really embarrassed. Maybe that cute new boy that moved into school came and sat down by you, and you blushed really bright red, and you just felt your face get hot, and you started sweating because you were so nervous because he was so cute and he's sitting by you. That's an obvious physical reaction to an emotional feeling. Or maybe you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off and then flips you the finger. You will feel that, right? You tense up, you get hot because your heart's pounding because you're so angry at this jerk on the road that just cut you off and flipped you off. You have a physical reaction. Not all emotions are going to create such an obvious physical reaction or immediate one. But they will create a reaction, and they will create physical manifestations within your body. Because emotions are, as they create these different chemistries in your body, that's energy. Everything's made up of energy. And so a lot of times these emotions can become trapped. And then you have these energetic trapped emotions within your body. And there are ways to release those. And it's crazy how big emotions are in our life that we don't give credit to them. We just go about our merry way and don't think twice in most cases. This is a fabulous book that I recommend called Molecules of Emotion, especially if you are a fan of science. And this, you're like, you know, I kind of like this idea, but I don't know if the science is really there. Guys, this book is amazing. Molecules of Emotion. It goes through the science of it. It goes through how emotions affect your body. It is a crazy, it just will blow your mind. And it's so crazy how our thoughts, how our emotions have such a strong bearing on our physical health. So a lot of times we might feel, we have a handful of words that we will use to express emotion. Like going back to the Inside Out movie, we've got what? 5 emotions. You've got disgust, fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Well, do we experience a lot more emotions than that? Yes, we do. This is a fun wheel I actually found online. If you just go to Google and just type in emotion wheel, this will come up. But this is a great tool to help you expand your emotional vocabulary, because a lot of times you might say, oh, I'm feeling angry. Well, angry is kind of a broad term. And so you can look here in the range of anger, you've got let down, humiliated, bitter, mad, aggressive, frustrated, distant, or critical. Actually, you know what? I'm not really feeling anger. I'm feeling bitter. I'm feeling bitter towards someone. Well, are you feeling violated bitter or indignant bitter? And so you can kind of narrow it down, and this can really help you kind of put your finger on how you're feeling, give it a name. And when you give it a name, guys, it's super easy to actually release that emotion. Because in my experience, in my practice, and helping so many people, I find that emotions just need to be validated. It's just like a toddler, right? Toddlers will throw a huge tantrum until you just acknowledge, say, I see that you're there. I acknowledge you, right? And then they're happy when, you know, because they're mommy, 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 and they just want to show you something. And as soon as you stop what you're doing and you let them show you what they want to show you, then they'll go off and play and they'll be happy again, right? Emotions are the same way. If you experience an emotion and you try to ignore it, right? And it will start screaming and throwing a tantrum, and that's going to look like dissonance within the body. So it might yield different symptoms. Maybe you're going to start hurting in different places in your body. Maybe you're going to start having headaches. Maybe you're going to start having different digestive issues, but it's going to manifest itself. But once you identify the source that, hey, this is because I was angry, or I was humiliated because I was disrespected, then you can let it go. And it's amazing how fast the body will heal just when you recognize that and let it go. So emotions are going to be processed throughout the body. So it's not just in our head. It's not just in our heart. It is all over. And this is a really neat analogy to help you kind of understand. It's not really it's partial analogy, but we have 3 brains in our body, right? We've got one in our head, we've got our heart, and we've got our gut, okay? So in our mind, this is our logic and our intellect. This is where we are going to think everything, right? In our subconscious mind, which is what we're not immediately thinking of, it's not right there on the surface, it's a little bit below. This is where so much information is stored. That is going to direct 90% of your behavior. It's going to dictate your habits. It's going to dictate how you respond to things. It's going to dictate how you view things, your perspective, all that, okay? So that's in our head, right? Our heart, there are actually more neural pathways that run from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. So what does that tell us? That tells us that our heart is going to direct a lot of our decisions. How often do we maybe we go to a department store and we try on a new outfit, and the lady working there tells us, oh my gosh, you look amazing in that. That just, you know, makes you look so much younger and thinner and whatever. You know, she just lavishes you with praise. Well, you might not have loved it, but she made you feel so good that you're going to purchase it because you're purchasing with your heart. You're purchasing with that emotion, okay? And there's been studies shown too that heart transplant patients will actually have memories from the donors that they didn't have before. And that's because we have a lot of memories stored in that heart tissue. And there's actually a lot of really neat research that comes out about the heart, about the energy field of the heart and how far it goes out and what it actually holds and contains. So that's another of your brains, okay? The last one is your gut. How often have we said, oh, I just feel it in my gut that this isn't the right thing? That's our intuition, right? God gave us this beautiful gift of intuition, and I think so many times we try to discount it because it doesn't logically make sense, right? Or we can't explain it because there's nothing that logically we can, lay it out for it to make sense to someone. But we might feel it in our gut, or we might feel it in our heart. When we act on that intuition, it hasn't steered me wrong so far. But that gut feeling that we get down in our gut, over 90% of the body's serotonin is actually produced in the gut. So if you have poor gut health, you are going to have poor brain health. That means you're going to have foggy brain. You're not going to be able to think clearer. You're not going to have great memory. You're not going to be able to recall facts that you once knew. You can have mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, because your gut is wrong. And many of the neurotransmitters are created in the gut. And so you've got to have good gut health. So we've got these three brains working in our body that are going to be affected by our emotions and the things that we go experience throughout the day. Okay, and they're going to communicate with each other. They're going to have feedback. So if our heart is feeling one way, it's going to send messages to our brain and our gut, and they're going to react according to the messages that the heart sent, or the brain to the heart to the gut, and gut to the heart to the mind. They're all intertwined, okay, and they're sending messages to each other. So it's very important to realize what's going on. So I'm going to show you an example of kind of how this might work in your day, what it might look like, okay? So your three brains, you don't even have to think about it. Your body is going to normally just respond. This is on that subconscious level. And so let's look at an experience, okay? Mom's got a crying baby. Her cell phone's ringing. The dog is whining to get out. She's a little stressed out, right? So she's trying to process this situation. In her mind, she's thinking, I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure out the problem on the phone, how to quiet the baby, and how to get rid of, get the dog calm. And then in her heart, she's like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like, I can't handle all of this at once. And in her gut, she's going to feel stuck. She's going to feel like, I don't even know what to do next. Have you guys, hopefully you guys can relate to have some kind of situation like this where you're just like, you don't know what to do, right? So her reaction is, her head's going to hurt because she can't figure out what to do. Her heart's going to be torn, so to speak, because she might really need to take care of this phone call, like it might be an emergency, and her baby's crying, so she might be feel torn. Okay, well, what do I do? My baby needs me, the people on the phone need me, what am I going to do? And then the unsettled stomach is going to come because she's conflicted, she's torn, she's got this head tension, she's totally overwhelmed. She doesn't know where to go, right? So she's going to have this disconnect that's going to happen where she can't process it, right? I think we've all been there. So what she's going to start doing is she's having this experience, which is going to lead to a belief. So the belief that can happen here is, I'm not good enough. I can't handle this. I'm a terrible mom. I'm a terrible, whether it be work or whatever that the phone represents, she's going to start thinking, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And so she's going to start watering that weed thought, that belief, okay? And it's going to yield some pretty yucky stuff. She's got an apple with a worm coming out of it. Like, when you water those negative beliefs, it grows, okay? Your beliefs are going to show up in your life and create your reality. So if you're believing, I'm a crappy mom, I'm a terrible employee, I'm a terrible wife, I'm a, inadequate woman, whatever, if you believe those and you water those, that is what is going to manifest in your life. That is what is going to show up. As a man thinketh, so is he, right? It's in the scriptures. So you can sow different seeds. So we're going to talk about that. I love this image, guys. This is showing you different heat mapping on different bodies as they're experiencing different emotions. You can see that different emotions are going to reside in different areas of the body, okay? And they're going to have different temperatures, which is amazing. So love, if you look at the love, and hold on, I got to move my little bar because I can't see. And love and happiness have lots of joy. Look how happy that is. Everything's warm and flowing and good. It's all good. And especially on that love, look how bright that heart is. The heat is really there. It's really centered over the heart. Okay? Then we look at something like anger. Oh, hot-headed. Have you ever heard that expression? That's what happens when you feel angry. That blood rushes to your head, your shoulders tense up, and you usually are balling your fist because you're angry, right? Look at that. The anger manifests that. And look at depression. Guys, I've struggled with depression my entire life. I can tell you this is true. I'm always cold. Not so much now, but your circulation actually decreases. So it is amazing how much emotion affects our body. Now, I'm not going to go into a ton of depth because I could teach an entire class just on this book alone. So this is one of my favorite books. It's called Feelings Buried Alive and Never Die by Carol Trueman, and it's Carol with a K. And this chart here is just something, you can Google it. It's just something I found on Google. But in this book, and this book talks about the physical manifestations of our emotions. okay? So if you're having shoulder pain, you can look up shoulder in this book, and it's going to tell you the emotional root that is linked to feeling pain or discomfort in your shoulder area, okay? So I'm going to look up, and I've read this whole book, but you don't have to necessarily read the whole book unless you kind of want to understand that whole emotional physical connection. But it has a really great reference section in the back where you can just look up stuff. So let's say I am having, just trying to look up something that I might have. So let's see. How about if you're having cold sores? I don't have cold sores, but if you get cold sores, you know, maybe on your lips or around your mouth, the emotions that are connected to that are the inability to express anger, feeling pressured or burdened by responsibilities, unable to cope with the pressures of life, feeling resentful of the load you are carrying, or not wanting to accept specific news. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and told me, I'm so stressed out, I got this cold sore, right? They're not wanting to hear the news. They're not wanting to hear that. And so not my favorite example, but the example that really for me was a testimony that this book is spot on was, like I told you, when my fourth child was born, I went into severe depression that wreaked havoc on my family. It was very, very difficult on all of us. And my poor little baby, when she was 1, we had to get her adenoids removed and tubes put in her ears. And so I looked up adenoids in here when I first heard about this book, because it was just something that I just felt I needed to look up, which was funny because it had already been like probably 4 or 5 years since that had happened. And so I look up adenoids, and I'm going to cry sharing this with you because it was so eye-opening for me. So problem with adenoids, and those are lymph node type things between, you know, in your nasal passage between your ear, down in the throat. So acute disharmony in the home, feels restricted in life, child feels unaccepted or hostility from someone, and feels unwelcome and in the way. And because of my depression, a lot of the family blamed, I don't think they directly blamed the baby, but she felt that, and her body manifested that. She felt that emotion. And that was really like eye-opening for me because it was so spot on with how she was feeling. And then for me, I looked up reflux because that was something that I was having a lot of reflux and indigestion during that time in my life. And let me see if it's under I or if it's under indigestion. Nope, it's under, must be under reflux then. Maybe, hold on. I gotta learn how to spell, right? Okay, maybe it's under heartburn. Hold on. Problem is you gotta find what is underneath. Okay. Okay, it's not under here, but I did look it up. Anyway, but the reflux I was having was because I couldn't digest what was going on. I couldn't process what was going on around me. And as soon as I was able to process it, it went away. It was great. So this is a crazy book to blow your mind and to help you have another angle, so to speak, on maybe some physical issues that you've been having. So if you keep injuring a certain place, or you keep having pain or discomfort in a certain area, or you keep experiencing a certain symptom or condition, and you've tried oils, you've tried medication, you've tried whatever you can think of, maybe take an angle from the emotional root and try to look at it that way. And it can be very, very eye-opening. This actually, you can also get it on an app on your phone. It's called Healing Feelings. It is a paid app, but you can look it up real quick. You just type in, the area of concern, if it's your eyes or your hips, and it will tell you the emotional root that is connected to that body part. So this was a big eye-opening thing for me, and helped me understand that physically how those emotions are affecting me physically. So let's look about how essential oils come into play, right? Because essential oils, they're natural chemistry. They're nature's chemistry set. and they interact beautifully with the body and are such a great tool and support in our emotional and physical health. So this is one of my favorite oils, Balance. This is a blend of essential oils, and it's called the Grounding Blend. And it really does what it says. It balances you. And if you're feeling ungrounded, you're feeling disconnected, you're feeling scattered, this is such a beautiful oil to put just a drop or two on the bottom of your feet. And I do this once or twice a day easily because it just grounds me. It helps the electricity that's in my body flow in the right direction. It helps me feel emotionally balanced. It helps me feel physically balanced. It helps me feel connected, and it helps me feel stable. So I love this oil to support me on an emotional level. Now, essential oils are going to promote emotional purification. And I talked about that when I shared my story, that as I was using these oils to support me physically, I was having this emotional detoxification that was starting to occur, this awakening, getting those layers peeled off so that I could have the ability to feel again. Wild orange is the oil of abundance. It helps you feel that there is more than enough of everything out there, whether it be money, love, relationships, business, whatever. But wild orange is a powerful, powerful emotional oil. It also helps you feel spontaneous, playful, generous, and creative. And they really help anchor the body in a healthy biochemistry. Because what happens is that we talked about these oils are, these emotions are going to be affecting the different receptor sites on our cells, right? Well, what happens if those receptor sites are clogged through different physical toxins we might be experiencing or emotional toxins that we've had for a long time? They need to be cleaned, and essential oils are fabulous at that. One drop of essential oil has over 40 million trillion molecules. That's a lot. It's like my brain can't even comprehend that number. But these chemical compounds go in and they service every single cell of the body. And the cells are able to go in and they're able to take what they need and just pass on what they don't need. It's beautiful. Nature recognizes nature. We work well together. Okay, that's why essential oils are so effective. Now, as these oils go in, they help clean these receptor sites. They're going to promote healthy cell function so that our cells can give and receive the correct messages, and that our body is going to feel supported, so it's going to be able to help balance those emotions a lot better, okay? Now, not all oils are created equal. What I'm speaking about today, you cannot go to your grocery store shelf or even, Amazon or eBay, wherever. You can't get the therapeutic quality that you need in order to have these reactions, to have this therapeutic support. So you need to use doTERRA oils, guys. They are certified pure therapeutic grade. This means that they have been screened for at least 5 tests, up to 11 tests, depending on the oil, for purity and for potency. Because you do not want anything synthetic, because it's not going to work. It might smell the same, but it's not going to have the same therapeutic benefits, whether those therapeutic benefits be emotionally therapeutic or physically therapeutic. And so it's super important to have that quality that you can get only from doTERRA. Peppermint is one of the first oils that I experienced at my first class. And it was literally like a breath of fresh air. It was so clean and it was so refreshing. And looking back, it was emotionally very supportive. Emotionally, it helps you if you're feeling heavy, pessimistic, or muddled. And I was definitely at that place in my life. I had just gotten off my depression medication, and I was very confused about where I needed to go. I was, trying to go through and figure out my way. And so Peppermint helped me feel very buoyant and optimistic and have clarity of thought. And I didn't even realize it at the time, but it was very, very beneficial. Now, I will tell you that peppermint, if overused for emotional purposes, can actually retard the emotional healing process, because peppermint kind of acts as a numbing agent, so to speak. It gives you a reprieve from heavy emotions. It gives you a break, and a breath, so to speak, from feeling those heavy, burdensome emotions. And we need breaks sometimes, but sometimes we need to just face our emotions and work through them. So I saw this with some family members that were just addicted to peppermint, and to me it's sad because they need to kind of, okay, let's give me that peppermint. It's kind of like taking that pacifier away from the baby, right? Kind of take it away and help them deal and progress on processing those emotions and moving on. So as we're talking about using these oils for emotional support, aromatic is going to be the most effective way. And for me, I love my diffuser. So I will stick my oils in the diffuser that what oils I need to support my emotional well-being for that day. And as we breathe those in, those molecules have a direct access to our limbic area or emotion center of the brain. And it is just amazing. As we breathe in these therapeutic pure, certified pure therapeutic grade oils from doTERRA, our brain has an immediate reaction. And the best way I can describe is think of a smell that just takes you back. For me, like cigarette smoke makes me think of my grandma. And so even though it's a smelly, nasty smell for most people, there's a part of it that helps me remember my grandma. Or, cookies baking, or maybe a peppermint or cologne or something that takes you back emotionally to a memory. And as we use these oils, they go straight to that limbic system. And that system can only be accessed two ways. It can be accessed through scent or music. And so using oils along with music, such as classical music like Mozart, Beethoven, can be incredibly healing to your emotion system. The next way to use these is topically. This means you're applying it on your skin somewhere. And as we apply it on our feet, on the spine, the oil is going to be absorbed through our skin into our cells, and it's going to offer support. So I love to apply oils over my heart, especially when I'm using them for emotional support. If I'm having stinking thinking or having bad thoughts, I love to apply it on the back of my neck. Or if I'm feeling very nervous and my stomach is having issues, then I will apply it over my feet. Over my stomach. If I've got an oil that's really stinky or a hotter oil, then I will apply it on the bottoms of my feet. Now, past tense, this is a great oil. It's our tension blend for tension headaches and different, tension in the muscles. But emotionally, it's going to help us when we're feeling imbalanced, when we're feeling burned out, or we're feeling tense. It's going to help us feel more balanced, calmer, relieved. It really, this is a great oil to put on before you go out into rush hour traffic. It really does help you relax and release that tension and just feel more emotionally balanced when you're in tense situations. So the next oil we're going to use, and for the past tense, I apply it on the back of my neck, right along those muscles. It is a little bit of a hotter oil, so if you're newer to oils, you might want to dilute this one down, but it works really, really great just to apply on the back of your neck along those muscles. And then you can put a little bit on your finger and then just kind of rub it along your hairline down to your temples. Do not get this close to your eyes. It will not feel good. And do not take the roller and go like this, because it will drip into your eyes and it will not feel good. And I learned that the hard way. So internal use, and this is unique to doTERRA, so please don't go grab any oil and just chug it down. And not all oils are labeled for internal use, even within doTERRA. So please, make sure to check the label, and it'll tell you, if you see a supplement label on there, that means that it's good to go for internal use. And it's great to take underneath the tongue in some water or in a gel cap. And this can be, I don't necessarily use this a ton for emotional use, but it can be. Using oils like On Guard internally can be very effective, not only to help support your immune system, but to help you feel protected, help you feel capable and independent. Because a lot of times we might feel like we're feeling attacked or we're unprotected or we don't have good enough boundaries. And so On Guard helps you feel safe. I've had several people come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what it is about On Guard, but I'm addicted. And they'll just take it under their tongue all the time, or they'll take a lot of On Guard beadlets, and emotionally, it's so supportive and helps them feel so safe that they love it. And so if you have, if you are in a situation or you're in a relationship or you're going into a situation where you might not feel safe, this is a great oil to use, either topically or internally. Okay, and I'm going to give you 2 valuable resources right now. Now, with essential oils, doTERRA saw that a lot of people were getting confused. A lot of people were feeling like it was a little overwhelming with all the choices out there, because every single essential oil and essential oil blend has an emotional benefit. It has an emotional component that it can support and help to be, you know, and to be used as a tool to help you on your emotional healing. So doTERRA came out with these 6 amazing emotional aromatherapy blends that are specifically for emotional support. And they also have this fabulous, fabulous wheel that helps you understand and know how to use your oils and when to use your oils, okay? So you can look at this wheel, and if you're feeling anxious, then that's going to be really close to using the piece, okay? And so that would be a good oil to use. Now, if you are feeling maybe a little apathetic, you could maybe use a little piece or motivate. Smell each and see which one is going to work for you. And these are fabulous in the diffuser, or we just came out with a new, and I left my touch blend on the other thing. We have a new set that they come in rollers that they're pre-diluted and they're ready to go to make it super easy. My little 7-year-old, oh, thank you, Giovanni. My little 7-year-old was having to get a tooth pulled, and she was super, super nervous about it. And so I gave her a roller bottle, the Touch roller bottle, a piece. It was already pre-diluted, so we didn't have to worry about that. She took it to school, and every time she was feeling nervous when she started thinking about getting that tooth removed, she would just apply her piece, and she would feel so much better. And it was funny because she was like oiling everybody up in the class. Thankfully, her teacher's on my team, so it worked out well. But but it really, it's empowering for children to have these tools, because they're going to feel these emotions. And if they can have a tool that helps them feel calm, or helps them feel brave, or helps them feel protected, or helps them feel happy, then it's huge. And so with this emotional aromatherapy kit and then the touch kit, those are 2 beautiful tools to help you have these oils at your fingertips in a very simple way to use it. And guys, if you don't want to use the chart, you're just like, I just like cheer. It just makes me feel good. I don't care about the chart. That's fine. You can totally do that. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, I am just mesmerized and just so intrigued by this concept, this book right here that's shown on the screen, Emotions and Essential Oils, is probably one of my favorite books. This book has every single oil and oil blend that doTERRA has, and it tells you the emotional properties of them. So if you, for example, white fur, let's say you smell white fur and you just love it. You're just like, oh, I can't get enough white fur in my life. Well, positive properties are feeling free, generational healing, healthy family patterns, creating new pathways, and spiritual protection. And that might relate to what you have going on in your life. If you've got an oil that is like, ugh, that's so gross, stay away from me, then you can also look up the emotional properties and say, either I've seen it happen to it, ugh, I'm not ready to deal with that yet, or I don't have that problem. I had a lady that got, that needed some eucalyptus. And she's like, oh no, like, no, that's, and I gave her the emotional thing for eucalyptus, and she's like, no, that's not me. Which 5 minutes before, she was telling me all of her health ailments. Now listen to what eucalyptus is. It's the oil of wellness. It helps people that are attached to illness, clingy, defeated, despair, desire to escape life or responsibilities, imprisoned, or powerless to heal, or sickly. And she had literally been giving me her laundry list of all her health ailments 5 minutes before. And so I knew that she did emotionally need that eucalyptus, but she was not ready to face that yet. And that's okay. But this book is really, really valuable and helpful on your emotional journey as you try to heal. In the index, you can look up, you're like, okay, I'm feeling very oppressed today. Maybe you just feel like you can't get ahead. Oil recommendations are clove, On Guard, white fir. So you can look up your emotion and get oil suggestions and figure out which one would be the best fit, because they're all going to be a little bit different and will resonate with you in different ways. So these are two tools that can be very, very powerful as you work on emotionally healing. Oh, and on these oils, guys, Peace, the emotional aromatherapy, this is so straightforward because their name describes what that oil does. Okay, so peace brings peace. Motivate motivates you. Cheer brings cheer. Passion brings passion. Forgive helps you feel feelings of forgiveness towards yourself or towards others. And console is very consoling. It's like to me, console is like a hug in a bottle. So those are super, super straightforward. Now, I talked about this at the beginning about how important it is to give your body the right tools and the right nutrition so that emotions don't get exaggerated. When our body is in starvation mode, even if you're eating all the time, even if you're fat and happy, you're probably not fat and happy if you're not getting good nutrition, because we eat so many food-like substances and nutrient-poor foods that even if we're consuming a bunch of calories, we're not consuming enough nutrients. And so it's super important to supplement properly so that your body has the right vitamins and minerals, it has the right fatty acids, it has the right antioxidants, so that you can actually be on an even playing ground for your emotional health. I can't tell you how vital this trio is. It's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack, how vital that is for my depression or lack thereof. As long as I'm consistent, as long as I give my body the tools that it needs, guess what? Depression is a non-issue. But if I go on a trip and I leave this in my bag for 2 weeks, I can tell you within about a week, I'm going to start feeling those depressive tendencies again, because my body's not getting what it needs, and it's not able to even be aware that it's falling into those pit holes. So it's super duper important to make sure your body has the right tools, that you're not having your body work at a disadvantage. And then guys, gut cleansing is huge. And this is not going to be about gut cleansing. If that's something you're interested in, go on my YouTube channel and you can watch my detox video. But guys, we talked about that 90% is in the gut. If you're not having a healthy, happy gut, everything else gets jacked up. So it's so important to cleanse that gut and to get it healthy and functioning properly with probiotics, cleansing out harmful yeasts and toxins within the system, and using enzymes to help your body actually digest and break down and absorb foods and nutrients. And so important for your mood. It really is. So I want you guys to take a little inventory real quick. Okay, so get some pen and paper out while I get some water, and we're gonna do a scale of 1 to 10 on each of these questions. Okay, and this is gonna kind of help you to know what area might need a little extra love, a little extra attention, okay? First one, that we're focusing on your mind. I work on healthy thought patterns. Are you having good thought patterns? Or are you having negative internal dialogue? So give yourself, on each of these, score yourself 1 to 10, okay? I choose to believe good about myself and others. Oh, I'm getting it unstable. Hold on, let me get reconnected. Giovanni, am I unfrozen? Okay, there. I think we're unfrozen now. Okay. Here, Michelle, can you just type in the chat box if you have a question? I can't unmute you. I nourish my brain with good fats and minerals. Okay. Give yourself a 1 to 10 on that. Next one, for your heart. I trust my intuition and my higher power. Okay. Next one, I freely give and receive love. I often feel peace inside and I rest well. okay? And then let's look at the gut. I digest and process food well. I nourish my digestive system with good nutrition and enzymes. My body is healthy and feels good. Now, after rating each of those, that should give you a clue of probably where to start. Because if let's say your healthy gut is not so healthy, maybe you've got 3s and 4s in that area, then that might be a good place to start with cleansing and cleaning that out, and then you can move on to the other areas. Maybe your gut's fine, but you're looking at your healthy heart and you're like, intuition, what's that? Or I'm always stressed. I don't know what this piece is that you speak of. And maybe that's an area that you need to address. Or maybe your mind is feeling a little bit weak. Maybe you have stinking thinking. Maybe you are having negative thought patterns. Maybe that's where you should start. Maybe you scored fabulous in all of them and you're doing awesome. You can be our example, be an example for people. Maybe you scored poorly in every area. Then I would just suggest doing what you feel like you can do at this point. So I want you guys to think, what do I need to weed out? And is it negative thoughts? Is it relationships? Is it substances? What are the weeds in your life? What is not adding value to your well-being? Something physical, something emotional, something mental? What isn't working? What can you weed out? Because guys, when you have weeds, there's not room for the good stuff to grow. So what do you want to plant? The beauty of this life, guys, is that you have the choice. You have the choice to do something different. You have the choice to decide how you react. You have the choice to decide how you're going to view yourself. So what do you want to plant? Think about it. Do you want to be somebody who is confident, emotionally balanced, and peaceful? Do you want to be somebody who is fiery and ready to go at any time? Whatever you want to be, you can be that. And guess what? You are being whatever you think you are. So you get to control what you think you are. Is that easy? No. It takes conscious effort. It takes work. But you can create new beliefs. You can create new relationships. You can use supplements and essential oils to help you grow the garden that you desire. But you are in control. So how are you going to nourish that new baby seed? Are you going to create new habits? Are you going to create new practices? Are you going to create new patterns? Are you going to stop negative ones? You have to make that choice. Now, it can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're like, I'm an emotional wreck. I'm a mess. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once, okay? Because you fill a bucket up drop by drop. You clear your mind thought by thought. You heal yourself moment by moment. So it doesn't have to be overnight. And honestly, if you do it overnight, it probably isn't true healing. But it's choosing every moment to be a little bit better than you were the moment before. Or every day a little bit better than the day before. And just keep trying. That's all that we're asked to do, is to keep trying. So here are the references these are my 3 favorite emotional references for emotional health. And you can find all of these books very easily at my Amazon bookstore. So it's bit.ly/essential oiler. And there's a book section and there's 2 pages. So if you don't see one of these books on page 1, make sure you click on page 2 and it'll be there. But super easy. These are so phenomenal. The newest edition of Emotions and Essential Oils is the 5th edition. It just came out with the 2 new oils that we were released at convention. So these are my favorite. If this topic is very exciting to you, this is a great place to start. Now, if you are already associated with doTERRA, which I think most of the people on this webinar are, make sure you're taking advantage of the loyalty rewards program, guys. If you're going to be ordering your oils and ordering your supplements, you need to get your points back, okay? This is the best way to get the most bang for your buck. And you can cancel it at any time, but ordering monthly is going to give you rewards back that you can save up in your little doTERRA savings account and cash in for free products if you're choosing later. There's no minimums, and you can change it every single month. So please take advantage of the Loyalty Rewards program. It is phenomenal. Now, if you are brand new to doTERRA and you do not have an account, this is our current special for October of 2016. So if you're watching this recording way after the fact, then sorry, this doesn't apply to you. But for those that are new with us today that have not yet set up a doTERRA wholesale account, in the month of October, if you sign up with one of our starter kits, and then place a 100-point loyalty rewards order, we just talked about the loyalty rewards, in November of 100 points, which is around $100, you will get a free lifelong vitality pack. And guys, this is so crucial for your health, for your emotions, for your well-being. So take advantage of that. I'm just going to go through real quick the kits. We've got $250 kits. We no longer have our emotional aromatherapy kit. That's been phased out. But I would really recommend starting with one of our kits that have a diffuser, because all of these oils are going to have emotional benefits. They're all going to have, be able to support you emotionally. So I would recommend getting one with a diffuser so that you're able to easily use that to support your moods. So I would recommend the Aroma Touch kit here, or possibly the Home Essentials kit. Although our new Family Wellness kit does have 2 of our emotion aromatherapy touch rollers, the Cheer and the Peace, which are definitely favorites in our home. And then we have our Natural Solutions kit, which has a ton of goodies to help your family to better health and wellness, both physically and emotionally. Now, if you'd like to connect with me online, please do so. My website is NicoleRVincent.com, and it has all the links to my social media. I am currently taking appointments for people that would like to release emotion through a technique called the Emotion Code. And you can read about that on my website under services. And check out my YouTube videos as well. They are at bit.ly/Nicole videos. And that will take you to my playlist, and you can see all of my different playlists that have different groupings of videos to learn more about oils, about holistic wellness, and lots of different topics there as well. And then if you'd like to connect with Giovanni, here is her connection as well. She is Holistic Harmony on Facebook and Instagram, so please look her up. And then Giovanni Bonet on all the other platforms. So guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Let me stop my share. Do we have any questions or comments or anything about emotional well-being or anything like that? You can type it in the chat box. I can't unmute anybody. I still haven't figured out how to do that in this in this webinar platform.
I don't see any questions.
Well, we did good on time.
Oh, wait. Ordering these books today. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the books are super valuable. So great. Well, I post the graphs later. What graphs, Heather? I'm not sure what graphs you're referring to.
About the emotion.
I don't know what graphs about emotions. The wheels? Oh, just go on Google. Just type in Google, go type in emotion wheels, and they'll pop up. So yeah, just go to Google. There's tons of stuff there. Google Images is your best friend. So yeah, just go to Google and type in emotion wheels, and they'll come up. Yeah, when releasing emotions, it depends on how you're releasing. It depends, there's lots of different emotional release techniques. And so it just kind of depends on what you decide to do. And emotional oils, guys, essential oils do not do the emotional work for you. They are a tool to support you in your emotional healing. So whatever technique you choose to utilize, whether it's multiple techniques or one technique, traditional therapy, different energy healing techniques, prayer, whatever floats your boat, The oils are there to facilitate and to expedite the healing, but they don't do the work for you. So you can't slap on an oil today. Let's say I was abused as a child. I can't slap on some oil once or twice and think that the trauma and emotional turmoil from that abuse is going to be gone. No, I need to find a healing modality that can help me process that and release it. But I can use essential oils as a companion with that in order to facilitate that healing. So Lola, yes, this will be posted in our group. So watch for that. It'll also be on my YouTube channel. So Giovanni, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do actually. There's a book that I love that I want to share. It's called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Ooh, I haven't heard of that one.
It's by Dr. Daniel G. I got it because I was diagnosed with ADHD a couple of years ago. And it really helped me because ADHD is due to some nutritional deficits. So I had to work on that, but it's also some behavioral things. And this book really helped me with addressing those, as well as essential oils I started using the Intune. And I noticed, like, when I'm really feeling distracted, it really does help me to just kind of like focus in and zoom in on what I'm trying to accomplish. So it is a holistic approach to treating and dealing with emotional health. Definitely if you're struggling with tension or and a lot of times it's rooted in not having enough healthy fats to nourish your brain. So definitely the LLV is important, as well, you know, getting in the coconut oil, eating salmon, you know, you really have to approach it in a different way. As well as like meditation and prayer, I believe is very helpful when I'm having anxious feelings as well. So, and you just have to tell yourself, dispel those lies and those truths that are coming in and just release them. Because with my husband having brain cancer, whenever I felt that doubt or worry creep in, I would immediately say to myself, this is not true. And I would slam the door on that thought. And I would immediately begin to pray and just be grateful for where I am. And I think that really helped me. So I'm just only sharing that because I think that it might help somebody else.
So true. And who is the author on that book again, Giovanni?
It's Dr. Daniel Amen.
Here, hold it all the way up. Oh, A-N, yes. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, like a prayer.
Yes,
You can remember that. Awesome. And that, I love what Giovanni said. Like, really, I think for me, and I think for most of us, I think negative thought patterns are probably one of the most destructive things that we don't even realize how damaging they can be. And I think the earlier and the faster that you can learn to control your thought patterns, the better. Because we have so much subconscious programming from childhood that we don't even realize that we're having negative thought patterns. And this is something I was trying to work with, you know, I work with my kids, and when they're having negative thoughts, I'm like, okay, number one, is that true? And what's the source? Because a loving Heavenly Father would never tell you something negative about yourself. Mm-hmm. He might correct you if you screw up, but he's going to do it in a loving way. He's not going to tell you you're stupid. He's not going to tell you you're worthless. That's going to be the devil telling you those things. And so call it for what it is. Like Giovanni said, slam the door on it and say, that's a lie. That's not the truth. Mm-hmm. And it is so powerful when you're able to recognize those faster, to really grasp onto your identity of who you are and what you are and whose you are, because it's so important to come from a true perspective and not a warped perspective that's being orchestrated by someone who does not have your best interest in mind and wants your demise and wants your ruin. So pay attention to your thoughts, because they will lead to your emotions, which will lead to your physical feeling, your actions, and will develop your character. It all is intertwined. So guys, I thank you so much, Giovanni, for hosting today. And thank you so much to all of you who joined us. And we hope you have a fabulous, fabulous day, and we'll talk with you soon. Have a good one.
Be blessed, everyone.